welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today here on the channel, we're going to be talking about my favorite film of 2023, Oppenheimer, and its brand new Universal 4K Blu-ray that just came out. So Oppenheimer was released July 21st, 2023. It was one of the biggest movies of the year. It came out the same weekend as Barbie, and everybody was in the Barbenheimer that weekend. But for me, for my money, Oppenheimer was the better of those two films, and honestly, Oppenheimer is one of the best films I've seen over the last 10 years. This is Christopher Nolan's masterpiece, his magnum opus. This will be the film he's most remembered for in a career of great films. This is the same guy who gave us the Dark Knight trilogy, gave us Memento, gave us Interstellar, Inception. You know, he's just given us great film after great film. I know not everybody's a fan of his style. Sometimes I've heard complaints that he gives too much exposition in his scenes, but I just love the escalating tension that he puts in his movies. And then obviously they are just eye candy. One of the first directors to really bring in the IMAX camera with the Dark Knight, then everyone started to use it after him. But he really just continues to perfect the art, just adding new tools to his arsenal with this film. And this time he tried to add black and white 65mm film to his arsenal to just perfection. But before we get into all of that, this film tells the story of J. Robert Oppenheimer, the man behind the atomic bomb, or the father of the atomic bomb, if you will. This is the guy who really was bringing that technology here to the United States, helped us build the two atomic bombs that would end up being dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki back in 1945. And it's really dealing with the struggle of his life before and after those bombs are dropped. And he's played by Cillian Murphy in this movie, who should easily win Best Actor at this year's Academy Awards. He turns in a career best performance, and it's not even close. He falls into Oppenheimer. He is that character. You stop seeing Cillian Murphy, and when you watch interviews with Oppenheimer himself, you kind of see in this movie that, like, Oppenheimer's there, but he's not really looking or making eye contact. His eyes are moving back and forth. Like, he's there, he's present, but he's not really thinking about the conversation he's having. He's thinking about everything else that's gone on in his life, the weight on his shoulders, the fact that he feels like he's living with blood on his hands, that he is the reason why all of these innocent lives were lost. And that's one thing about the atomic bombs. Yes, we dropped them on Japan, and you know, you kill a lot of guilty people as well, but you also kill a lot of innocent people who did not deserve to die, and Oppenheimer has to live with that for the rest of his life. And you could just see the weight that it really was piling on him. And this movie also wants to show us this 1954, it's not a trial, the 1954 security clearance hearing that is going on. And we have that hearing going on at the same time we have a Louis Strauss hearing going on when he's trying to get into the cabinet. So we're seeing the two differences in the two hearings at the same time we're trying to tell this compelling biographical film. And that's what Christopher Nolan knows how to do best, that non-linear storytelling as we're bouncing between different timelines, we're bouncing between different film stocks, sometimes it's in color, sometimes it's in black and white, it's got shifting aspect ratios. So the comparisons that I heard about JFK to this film are definitely very noticeable. And when you think about it even more, you know, all the B-roll footage that they put in this movie showing us like the atoms crashing together, how an atomic bomb works, every time they bring it up, they'll show you a little bit of it. That's the same thing they were doing in the movie JFK. JFK was also alternating between different types of film stock, a little bit different than what they were doing with this. For the most part, they were using IMAX cameras in this movie, while JFK, they're using a bunch of different sizes of film, and they were even using VHS tapes. So that one was combining a bunch of different stuff, but I could definitely see the comparisons between that film and this film. We're also talking about a historical figure who's not squeaky clean like many people would think, like in the movie JFK as well. I really do love those aspects of this movie. And another thing, just like JFK, is the amount of parts that are in this movie that are played by big time actors. When I did my first non-spoiler review here on the channel, I didn't get to talk about every actor that appeared in the film because I didn't want to spoil it for you guys. So going forward, we'll probably talk a little bit of spoilers, but I mean, this is a true story, so you kind of know how it ends. I didn't get to bring up Ansel Elgort, who appears in this movie. And Ansel Elgort has been one of those actors I feel like hasn't gotten the shot that he deserves. Yes, he was given opportunities like in Solo, but unfortunately he had to play a young Han Solo, a young Harrison Ford, and that's never really gonna work. And I feel like not many people got on board with him, and he had to really build up his career again. And Ansel Elgort does a great job in this movie. I mean, he can be a little bit, he has to deliver some of the more cheesy lines in this movie, though. That's the one flaw of it. Christopher Nolan loves to do certain things that he's done in other movies. If you guys remember from The Dark Knight, when that one guy goes up to Morgan Freeman and he's trying to frame Bruce Wayne for being Batman.
I want $10 million a year for the rest of my life.
And he thinks he's got the upper hand, and then Morgan Freeman turns that around on him, and it makes him look stupid.
Think that your client, one of the wealthiest, most powerful men in the world, is secretly a vigilante.
He did that in this movie as well, with the one guy talking to the German guy saying, oh, if you need help with the English, let me know. And then we see Oppenheimer speaking German, and then he's asking the guy, what's he saying? So it's pretty funny that he likes to do that in a lot of his movies. Same thing with the John F. Kennedy reveal at the very end of this movie. Oh, it's just some kind of senator from Boston. Kennedy? It's the same thing at the end of The Dark Knight Rises with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and the secretary saying,
You should use your full name. I like that name. Robin.
Thanks.
he loves to put those and have the score swirling around him as that's going on. So there's a lot of those Nolan tropes in this movie. You know, if you're not a big fan of exposition dumps, yeah, you're going to get that in here, but it's done a lot better than he's done in previous movies. And I think this is a big jump up from Tenet as far as the quality of film goes. The script is just almost perfect. Everybody is turning out great performances in this film. Jason Clarke, Matt Damon, Casey Affleck pops up in one scene. And, you know, he never raises his voice, but you're just so scared of this guy. You know he can do the worst. And Matt Damon lays that out for you. Matt Damon, he's the only one giving us a little bit of comedy in this movie. Really trying to, you know, not drag us down to the depths of hell. And they're trying to show us that this is one of the biggest things to happen to our planet is the atomic bomb. And that's why at the very end of this movie, when we see J. Robert Oppenheimer talking to Albert Einstein by the lake over there, you know, Robert Downey Jr. being the selfish person that he is in this film, he thinks that they're talking about him. But no, they're really talking about what they created might have changed the course of history and might have actually killed the planet. And I just love how they ended this movie on a perfect note, completing the story that they were trying to tell. But Cillian Murphy is the shining star. Emily Blunt, I don't think was given enough. I've heard that she's probably a front runner for Best Supporting Actress. I mean, she does get her big moment in the sun in this movie, but I feel like her character is the most underwritten out of all the characters. And Christopher Nolan does have a problem with writing female characters. We've seen this in the past. You know, Florence Pugh doesn't get to do much better in this movie. But Emily Blunt, for the most part, is like mean mugging in the background. Then she gets her big shining moment, and that's the one that the Academy might get drawn to. I just don't think in a 3.5-hour movie she has enough screen time to justify that Academy Award nomination. Now, I can see Robert Downey Jr. getting an Academy Award nomination, but compared to Cillian Murphy falls into the character of Oppenheimer, where I think Robert Downey Jr., at times, I can still see Robert Downey Jr. I still know his voice. I still know his speech patterns.
What were you guys doing in Los Alamos?
I don't think he falls as much into the Strauss character as Cillian Murphy falls into the Oppenheimer character. But everybody is playing their parts perfectly. They really just got a murderer's row of great actors, great cinematography, as always, great score, great sound design. This is one of the best films that I have ever seen in my entire life. It's only going to go up and up my all-time favorites list. This movie is a masterpiece. If by chance you haven't seen Oppenheimer yet, this 4K Blu-ray will definitely sell you on it, so that's what we're going to be talking about right now. And here it is, Oppenheimer on 4K Blu-ray from Universal Pictures. This is actually the first time that Christopher Nolan has actually worked with Universal Pictures. He had a falling out with Warner Brothers over the release of Tenet and going straight to streaming. So he signed up with Universal Pictures, and they gave us a fantastic 4K Blu-ray. You were able to get this in Steelbook versions as well, whether it be at Best Buy or at Walmart. Both of those have really nice box designs. I opted to get the regular old-fashioned slipcover version from Best Buy. And this really is, before we go any further, one of the best 4K Blu-rays of 2023. Right now, it might be the front runner for the best of 2023. Christopher Nolan is a huge fan, and he's basically our god of physical media. He's always out there promoting it. Him and Guillermo del Toro, the two guys always out there. And he was even talking about this, how he wanted to make sure that they got all the extras on the 4K because that was a big selling point of DVD. Stuff that I'm always here talking about on the channel are extras. Well, he gave that all to us here on this 4K Blu-ray. So let's pop this slipcover off. We come underneath, same artwork on this slipcover. You come inside, it did have a digital code, which will be in this week's digital code giveaway. You get one 4K disc, you get the same downgraded version of the film on 1080p Blu-ray right here, and then you get a special features disc. And that special features disc is basically just my heaven. We got 2 documentaries. We get a making of documentary that's about 1 hour and 12 minutes long. We also get a J. Robert Oppenheimer documentary that's about 1 hour and 27 minutes long. There's a good featurette about the film process using 65mm black and white film and how they had to use it and how they were able to, you know, jump between the differences in black and white and color and make it look as seamless as possible. The shifting aspect ratios, how that was all done. You get trailers, a Q&A. So the extras disc is just a 10 out of 10. Phenomenal. Now the audio is probably the biggest flaw, but it's a very minor flaw. And that's only because Christopher Nolan himself doesn't like to use Dolby Atmos tracks or DTS:X tracks. He wanted to use a DTS HD 5.1 specifically. And it's amazing. It really is one of the best DTS HD 5.1 tracks. Christopher Nolan knows how to do audio. Sometimes, and I've complained about this in the past, he doesn't turn up the dialogue enough, and he just really loves to have the score like build up that atmosphere. But at times, you have a hard time understanding what people are saying. Not a problem in this movie. Maybe someone finally got to him and said, hey, you know, you're mixing that a little too low. I get what you're going for, but people really can't hear what's going on, and they're missing major plot points. And he was probably like, okay, I gotcha. We'll turn this up. We'll fix that. And he absolutely did. There is no issues with that in this movie. The score, of course, is phenomenal. You're going to have big, loud, banging moments in this movie. It's like when I was watching this at home last night, it was like midnight, and I was worried that my neighbors, and they are not close, were going to hear it. Because, you know, you don't want to turn it down as they're building up these big moments, these big explosions. Obviously, the Trinity test is the best scene in this movie, and it's incredible what they did with the audio design there. How we have moments of no audio where you just hear, like, breathing or people turning over to look at it. And then we get the explosion come just hammering in. Even though I saw this movie in the theaters twice, that still scared the absolute shit out of me when that bomb goes off and the audio comes flying in at you. I knew it was coming, still got me. Great audio design. I just wonder what it would have been like to get a Dolby Atmos track. It's more about wondering than it actually is the quality of this track, because this track is definitely great. Now, obviously, why we are all here today is those visuals. I was actually able to see this in IMAX twice when it was in theaters, but I never got to see it on the IMAX in film. The closest theater to me that actually had that, and I think it was only 17 theaters in the country, was about 2 hours away. Wasn't able to do that. I really wish I did. I'm sure it was probably the best this film could have ever looked. But when I saw it in IMAX, I thought this movie was drop dead gorgeous. And I was very curious as they were able to recapture that on the home theater standpoint. And they absolutely did. I actually think that this 4K looked better. And I had some of the best projectors projecting this movie when I saw it. Looked better than it being projected in the theater. As far as the visuals go, they are a 10 out of 10. Even a jump from the Blu-ray. And the Blu-ray is really good that's packed in here. But you're going to want to get that 4K. I'm always saying, like, you know, see a film in the best way you possibly can. But if you can't afford it, you know, if you want to grab that Blu-ray. But this is one of those times where I think the 4K format really is lending itself to this film. I mean, we get the shifting aspect ratios on the screen. You know, it looks pretty seamless. You will notice the black bars on the top and bottom, but those IMAX scenes are just candy for your eyes. You're going to be in love with the visuals in this movie. Very comparable to last year's Nope as far as like those big sprawling mountains, the sand on the ground, like all that stuff looks like you're just stepping into a painting. Absolutely incredible how it fills up your screen corner to corner. The resolution is just amazing. Now again, it's a big upgrade from that Blu-ray to the 4K. It's going to be a lot brighter, but it's also going to be hitting the blacks a lot deeper. Film grain is just a lot better on the 4K. Not that it's bad on the Blu-ray. Nolan's one of the rare people working today that actually has access to film, and it's just so noticeable on the screen what he's able to do and what his team was able to do to make this movie look as good as it possibly could. It is just a 10 out of 10 visuals. Everything I'm saying is just, I mean, it's not surprising. It's just an incredible 4K Blu-ray. It's one that is one of my prized possessions in my collection already. Maybe down the line we'll get like a really big just collector's edition release, but I don't know what else they could add to it. This is the perfect physical release. We don't get new movies released like this. Usually new movies get the shaft where they don't get extras, but I think this is Nolan's influence on Universal saying, hey, give them everything, and he really did. They gave us everything we could ever hope for, so obviously I have to give this 4K Blu-ray a score of 10 out of 10. It's just goddamn perfect. So it's a huge recommendation from me, guys. It's absolutely one of the best 4K Blu-rays. It's even worth it at full price at about $30. You know, sometimes they say wait for a sale, and this will go on sale. But if you want to see this movie and you want to continue to support physical media, this is one of those movies that I can recommend at the highest price, mainly because they put so much effort into making this film alone, but then transferring it to the home media format. You know, we've seen it, and I've complained about it, where people don't put as much effort in, but they really did at Universal, and Christopher Nolan put as much effort as they possibly could, and they really did give us a phenomenal release here. But it's also Friday, and that means it's time for our digital code giveaway. In every video that we do on Friday, I'm going to ask you guys 2 digital code giveaway questions. All you have to do is answer one of those in the comment section below. As long as you do that, you come back to Monday's video. I put your name on a magic wheel. I spin that bad boy 2 times. The 2 names it lands on, they have their choice. The digital codes that you've seen on your screen before you today. And I figured, hey, we're talking Nolan. Nolan is one of my top 10 favorite directors of all time. There was a point in history where he was my favorite director of all time. You know, as things go on, tastes change, but I still absolutely love Christopher Nolan. I want to know, what is your favorite Christopher Nolan film? And hey, this was a historical epic. You know, we get one of those every year probably. Not all are as good, but you know, you go back to Lawrence of Arabia, Gandhi. We've been always getting these throughout history. I want to know, what is your favorite epic film of all time? It doesn't have to be a historical epic. Just what is your favorite epic film of all time? Leave those answers in the comment section below. And then don't forget to come back to this Monday's video. We'll put your name on a magic wheel, spin that bad boy 2 times, and maybe you guys will be a lucky winner. But anyway, I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. And if you want to continue to support Let's Talk, the best way to do that is by hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button. We also have channel memberships if you want to help support us financially so I can keep bringing you guys these 4K Blu-rays for you. I want to thank my 3 channel producers who are already joined our channel memberships, John Del Juggalo, Jason Martin, and Frank Rodriguez. Also want to thank our channel director, Kevin Kruger. If you guys want to join the ranks with them or join our friends of the channel, which is about $2.99 per month, you will get your name put on a magic wheel that I will be spinning next week to see who wins a sealed copy of Mean Streets on 4K Blu-ray. I'll be doing that for all of our channel members. We'll probably be spinning that wheel next week sometime. So if you want to join them and get involved in this giveaway, you can do that right now. But it's no pressure at all, guys. We just really appreciate your support. I just want you guys to get out in the streets, tell your friends about us, and enjoy your day. We'll be seeing you around.